woods, which makes no sense. You're like, what the? Okay, whatever. So he disappears, and her reaction is, oh, I'm gonna go wandering out in the woods and almost die. So she wanders in the woods and then passes out, and this fucking Indian guy shows up and saves her and brings her home. So then she acts like a walking zombie for the first, 3/4 of the book. Just, oh, I wish Edward was here. Oh, I can't believe he left me. And she decides that her rational way of dealing with this whole thing is she's going to start endangering her life, because whenever she does, she imagines that Edward's there saying, what are you doing? Stop taking risks. Which makes a lot of sense. Meanwhile, there's this Indian kid that likes her too. And it turns out that him and all his Indian buddies are all werewolves. Woo, werewolves. I don't really remember exactly what their abilities are. They're fucking werewolves. Silver bullets, I'm sure, don't kill them, because should we follow the rules set for the last couple of hundreds of years? Anyway, the only reason that the wolves exist is because many years ago, this tribe of Indians started turning into werewolves because they needed to protect their land from vampires. Makes perfect sense, right? So, since the Edwards family of vampire homos lives in the area, these Indians still turn into werewolves once they reach a certain age, or some of them do. So this Jacob Indian kid is one of them. This is the new movie that's out now. The one with all the gay shit about Team Edward and Team Jacob, like you might have seen in those Burger King commercials, that are completely fictitious because there's actual men on some of those sides of people glaring at each other. As if any guy would actually read these... Oh. Wait. Anyway. So, Jacob likes the girl, and he's trying to get her to like him, and he's kind of like almost a rapist. He keeps, trying to make moves on her, and she keeps telling him no, and he keeps doing it anyway. But hey, he's an Indian, he doesn't know, he's probably drunk. So, she finds out that him and his buddies are werewolves. She keeps trying to kill herself all the time, or do dangerous shit. One of Edward's relatives can see the future and stuff. That's her power, which is really convenient. And in one of her future visions, she sees Bella jumping off a cliff. So she tells Edward, because why wouldn't you? And even though he told her that he's leaving her and everything and just took off, he finds out that she jumped off a cliff, and he calls her house, and one of her dad's friends has died or something, and so they say he's not here, he's at the funeral. So Edward assumes that Bella killed herself, so his reaction is, well, I'm going to kill myself too then, because, I have such a close bond with this fucking human person that I don't even know. So his way of getting killed is, there's this, network of super old vampires called the, something or other, Volturi or some shit. And they have rules where you're not supposed to expose that vampires exist. And I think they live in France or something. So he goes to France, and his idea is he's going to walk out into public and take off his jacket where he's not wearing any shirt underneath it and start sparkling in front of everyone. Then the Volturi guards will have to show up and grab him and then kill him for violating the laws. So he goes there and he's going to kill himself. The fortune teller vampire whore shows up and tells Bella about it. After she keeps cock-teasing this Jacob guy the whole book. She actually goes as far as to, kiss him and start acting like she likes him. And then once Edward comes back into the picture, she just ditches him again, because she's a fucking cunt. But anyway, so she ditches Jacob, goes with the fortune teller bitch to go stop Edward from exposing himself, and, which I'm sure he would have done in front of children, because he's some kind of freak. And of course they get there just in time to stop him, but the Volturi guards still see him anyway, or something. I'm probably mispronouncing that, but guess what? I don't care. So they get caught anyway, and they get brought in front of the council of old faggy vampires, who are not quite as faggy because they actually kill people and drink their blood. So they get brought before him, and they're like, "What were you doing?" And he's like, "Oh, nothing." And they're like, "Who's this human?" And he's like, "Oh, this is my girl or something. She belongs to me," or some shit, because that's a healthy relationship. And they're like, "Well, she seems to be special. I can't use my powers on her." And they're like, "Whoa, we like her. We want to keep her," or some shit. And he's like, no way. And they're like, yes way. And he's like, I'm gonna fight you. And then he remembers he's a homo and he doesn't. So, anyway, they decide that the solution is he has to either turn her into a vampire or else, or something like that, by such and such a deadline. And she already has been saying she wants to be turned into a vampire, because God forbid she not prolong this fucking codependent horseshit relationship based on abuse and, Oh, I forgot some of the other things. I'll bring that up here in a second. The end of the book is basically they get away from the Volturi guys, but she has to be turned into a vampire fairly soon, or else they're going to be in deep shit or something, because she also knows the secrets about vampires now, and she's not supposed to, so they're supposed to kill her. So what's Edward's explanation for him disappearing for the whole fucking book and leaving her when he knows that she's in danger, because apparently there's this other vampire that's fucking hunting her? He leaves her, and then when she finally asks him at the end, why did you leave me? He's like, I thought it was too dangerous for us to be together. Okay, so you were fine with her almost getting killed in the first book. And you know that you're dangerous to her anyway, and you might kill her at any minute when you lose control. Then one of your fucking dopey stepbrother vampire dorks sees a paper cut and goes crazy, and then you're like, this is too dangerous. I'm gonna leave her undefended from all this other shit. Yeah, that makes sense. So, yeah. So that's the end of the second book. Jacob gets cock-blocked and, basically tries to rape the chick, and she doesn't have it, even though she leads him on for a while. So, anyway, some of the creepy shit that Edward does is he watches her while she fucking sleeps, because vampires don't have to sleep. He sits there and watches her while she's sleeping every night. He breaks into their house every night. She lives with her dad. He jumps in through the window and basically eye rapes her all night, I guess, staring at her while she's sleeping. It's fucking creepy shit. And he doesn't want her to have any friends. He doesn't like her to be around other people. He gets jealous of other human guys if they talk to her and stuff. It's really healthy stuff. And anyway, so that's the second book. The third book, it's the clash between the vampires and the werewolves. It's a bunch of stupid shit. I'm just going to start skipping through this because I've already been talking forever, and I'm sure none of you is actually still listening to this. So the third book, basically, Bella and Edward are together again. Jacob doesn't like it. He's still trying to get her, and Edward doesn't like him. And then they decide to get married, I think, at the end of this one. There's a big conflict between the vampires and the werewolves because their treaty that says that they won't fight as long as the Edward guys don't bite any humans and turn them into vampires. But if they do, that's the end of the treaty, and then there's going to be a big fight. So they find out that he's going to turn Bella into a vampire eventually, and then they're like,